I hear this question a lot. Who created the people that Cain married from? Because the Bible says in the book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 14 down, speaking of the curse that God placed on Cain for killing Abel and sending him away as a wanderer. And the Bible says Cain married and gave birth to a child. All right, so people keep asking this question: who created those people? If Adam and Eve are the first people God created, then who created those people Cain met and married from? In fact, some even go as far as saying those people were the first people God created, with all manners of mysteries and doctrines flying out there. But there is a factor many of us are not taking into account, and that factor is the lifespan of man during the time of Adam and Eve. You see, in the time of Adam and Eve, man could live up to 900 plus years. And for a person, that is enough to see so many generations even before you die. During the time of Adam and Eve, people waited till they were 100 plus before even having their first child after getting married. So they had enough time on their hands. So when God cursed Cain and sent him away, remember, Cain was among the first children Adam and Eve had before they had other children. Cain was among the category of humans that could live for that long. Now picture this. Imagine you could live for 900 years and you began a journey today, leaving where you are to an unknown place. Now you became a wanderer, and so for every year you wonder about, generations are being born, and not just that, they are growing up. So imagine wandering for 200 years on your own and then deciding to come back the areas you passed that were empty. There is a high likelihood that you will find people living there now. And not just that, you would meet people that had enough time to grow up. So that was the situation during the time of Cain. Cain did not go to meet some other humans that were created by God, sometimes in a different timeline or something. Cain simply was a wanderer, and he had enough time to see many generations being born, and they grew up to be old enough to marry. And of course, during the time of the Bible, another thing must take into account: the moment somebody gets married and start having their children, their cattle, and their servants, what they do usually is to leave their father's house and they find a different spot and they make that place a city, giving it its name. That is why when you study the book of Genesis, you would see that the land Canaan was a name derived from one of the child of Ham, Canaan. He was the one that gave that land the name Canaan, the same land that later the Israelites went to dwell in and changed to Israel. So these people had enough time on their hands to give birth to generations. A couple can give birth to so many generations and watch them grow to full age even before they die. So Cain had enough time on his hands to roam and roam and roam and still come back around where he passed to meet people living there. And of course, this gave him an opportunity to get married and start his own family. So when you are studying the Bible, there are so many things to take into account. If you just come to the Bible with one spiritual eyes, you will miss a lot of physical clues that are in the Bible. Cain had enough time on his hands to marry from the generations that still came from Adam and Eve somewhere in the future. Understand this?